The disappearance of Tom Phillips and his 3 children, 8-year-old Jada, 6-year-old Maverick, and 5-year-old Ember, has become one of New Zealand's most perplexing and emotionally charged missing persons cases in recent years. Vanishing in September of 2021, the family has since eluded police efforts to locate them, triggering a multi-year manhunt fraught with uncertainty, public concern, and heartbreak. The case is emblematic of the challenges law enforcement faces when fugitives disappear into remote wilderness areas with children in tow, and it raises urgent questions about child welfare, parental rights, and community safety. The Phillips family's life was deeply intertwined with the rugged natural environment surrounding their home. Tom, aged 34, hailing from Otorohanga and born into a well-known Pakeha family, a white New Zealander as opposed to a Maori, was an experienced bushman, camper and hunter who often homeschooled his 3 children on their family farm, away from their traditional schooling system. The children's mother, Kat, had separated from Tom roughly 3 years before their disappearance and was living in the South Island, reportedly coping with her own personal difficulties at the time. Following the separation, Tom retained custody of Jada, Maverick, and Ember, though details of the custody arrangements remain shielded from the public by New Zealand's strict family court privacy laws. This separation and the ensuing parenting dynamic cast a subtle but persistent shadow over the family's story. On September the 11th, 2021, Tom and his 3 children were last seen at their farm in Marakupa, a rural community on the west coast of New Zealand's North Island, within the Waikato region, just south of Auckland. The farm was nestled in amongst dense brush and wild coastline, embodying a quintessential Kiwi backcountry lifestyle, one that prizes resilience, self-reliance, and a close connection with nature. This way of life, deeply ingrained in New Zealand culture, was typical and well understood within the local community. 2 days after the 4 were last seen on September the 11th of 2021, Tom's Toyota Hilux vehicle was found abandoned below the tide line at Keratahiri Beach, battered by relentless waves. This suspicious discovery prompted an immediate and extensive search operation involving planes, helicopters, jet skis, inflatable rescue boats, and advanced heat detection drones. Despite the mobilisation of significant resources and personnel, the search itself yielded no trace of Tom, Jada, Maverick, or Ember, leading to the suspension of the search efforts 3 weeks later. The mystery then deepened when Tom, rather unexpectedly, returned to the farm on September 30th, disclosing that he and the children had been living in a tent deep within dense bushland nearby, approximately 15 kilometres inland from the beach where his ute had been found. Interestingly, it was reported, however, that a friend of Tom's claimed the vehicle had been parked nearer to where the family had been camping, but had been stolen, taken for a joyride, and abandoned at the beach. It's unclear whether there is any proof of this, however. Tom and the children, who reportedly were in fine fettle upon their return to the farm, were previously sighted that very morning, riding a bike in Mangatoa Road. Phillips's sister later said that her brother had, quote, wanted space to clear his head. This revelation that the family had been deliberately camping off-grid underscored their intention to remain hidden and unable to be contacted. However, their brief return to the farm did not come without its consequences. Tom was charged with causing a wasteful deployment of emergency personnel and resources, considering the extensive yet untimely, fruitless search effort. Although his court appearance was initially scheduled for November of 2021, it was postponed until January of 2022 due to COVID-19 restrictions. But Tom appeared to have other plans. The family disappeared once more on December the 12th of 2021, slipping back into isolation. Despite their vanishing, police did not immediately initiate a renewed search effort or rescue operation, partially likely to the wasteful prior search, choosing instead to maintain a watchful eye and regularly reassess the situation. This decision reflected a complex balance between respecting the father's privacy and rights and addressing the welfare concerns surrounding the children's prolonged absence from conventional society. Tom had allegedly notified family of where he was going, and in doing so was not violating any court orders. Phillips's legal troubles compounded when he failed to attend the court hearing scheduled in January of 2022, prompting authorities to issue a warrant for his arrest. Around this time, Tom's utility vehicle was discovered parked near Mangatoa Track. Extensive ground searches in the surrounding area failed to locate any sign of the family, reinforcing fears that they were successfully evading capture and living in the wilderness. In 2022, the other half-sisters of Phillips's children launched a petition urging authorities to intensify efforts to locate their missing siblings. Despite a public appeal on 10/7 Aotearoa and 2 reported sightings in May, sadly later ruled out by police, progress remained stalled. A planned search by the children's maternal family in June was cancelled at police request, and in August, authorities speculated the family might have assumed new identities and relocated. After police declined to offer a reward in September of that same year, the maternal family began a crowdfunding campaign in October to raise 10,000 New Zealand dollars, ultimately committing to cover the shortfall themselves. Tom briefly resurfaced in February of 2022 when he visited a family member's home late at night to pick up some supplies. Notably without Jada, Maverick, and Ember. It should also be noted that he had grown some facial hair. Waikato West Area Police Commander Inspector Will Loren reported that Tom reassured family members during the hour that he was there that he and the children were safe, but did not disclose their location. This event marked the last confirmed sighting of Tom for over a year, as the family vanished once more into the remote New Zealand bush. But then, the clear struggle to survive in the wilderness for Tom and his 3 children became ever more apparent. The case took a darker turn in mid-2023 when police linked Tom to a string of criminal activities while on the run. In August of 2023, authorities appealed for information following multiple sightings of Tom Phillips driving a stolen Toyota Hilux ute near Te Amutu and Kahuia. These encounters culminated in a publicised altercation in Kahuia between Tom and a local man who recognised him and subsequently alerted the police. A photograph released by the authorities on August the 4th showed Phillips wearing a surgical mask, presumably as a disguise, during a shopping trip to a Bunnings store in Te Rapa, which marked the most credible sighting of him since early 2022. The stolen ute was soon recovered near Te Anga. 4 days later, on August 8th of 2023, police sought reports concerning the whereabouts of several stolen motorcycles believed to be connected to Phillips and the children, indicating that the fugitive family was not only surviving off-grid, but now engaging in criminal conduct to sustain themselves. Specifically, the motorcycles in question were a Honda 50cc motocross, a black Suzuki 200cc Trojan, a Honda XR 200cc, and a Honda 2008 4-Trax quad. Then, things escalated even further. In September, Phillips was formally charged in connection with another, far more serious crime that had occurred in May of that same year, an armed bank robbery in Tequiti. Tom was charged with aggravated robbery, aggravated wounding, and unlawful possession of a firearm, after also shooting towards a supermarket worker. Eyewitnesses described the chaotic escape scene where money was dropped in haste, and a bystander unknowingly picked up some of the stolen cash, only for it to be snatched back by one of the robbers. CCTV captured 2 individuals escaping the scene on a motorcycle, one of which is believed to be Tom, the other one of his 3 children. This high-profile crime added urgency to the police's efforts to apprehend Tom, who was now a wanted man not only for failing to appear in court, but for violent criminal offences. CCTV footage released in November further captured Tom and a child breaking the front window of a store in Pio Pio and fleeing after triggering the alarm. The images showed them disguised and acting furtively, underscoring the risks faced by the children, who were apparently still with their father and living a life far removed from safety and normalcy. Police did express their belief, however, that Tom and the children were being assisted by unknown individuals, urging those involved to prioritise the children's welfare and cooperate with the authorities. It was also alleged that Tom was reportedly seen in Okurari Hot Springs Hotel in Otorohanga in June of 2024 alongside his children, but they managed to flee before the police arrived. Kat, the children's mother, has remained a poignant voice in this case, frequently expressing deep anguish and frustration at the situation. Her emotional public appeals, including one made on her daughter Jada's 11th birthday, underscore the human cost of this prolonged ordeal. She described the children as innocent victims who deserved a normal childhood filled with friends, parks, and simple joys like visiting McDonald's, not years of hardship, living in isolation under threat. Hope then emerged in late 2024 when, on October 3rd, 2 teenage pig hunters trekking through a remote area near Maricopa encountered Tom, Jada, Maverick, and Ember walking across a farmland clearing just a few kilometres away from where the family were last seen. The children and their father were notably dressed in camouflage and carrying large backpacks, appearing, according to one of the hunters, well prepared for the wilderness. Tom Phillips appeared to be in possession of a rifle, which prompted the pig hunters not to over-interact with the family. In a surreal moment during the brief encounter, after one of the hunters stated that they were crossing private property, one of the children reportedly said, "Yeah, duh. Who else knows we're here?" A chilling question that underscored how fully off-grid their lives had become. Despite this, the family continued on their way. The hunters managed to discreetly capture footage of the group on a mobile phone, providing the first verified sighting of all 4 family members since December of 2021. That video, shared with New Zealand authorities, triggered a renewed but ultimately fruitless 3-day search effort involving ground patrols and helicopters equipped with night vision. Despite the lack of further contact, Detective Inspector Andrew Saunders called the sighting a positive line of inquiry, adding, quote, "This is the first time all 3 of the children have been sighted, which is positive information, and we know that it will be reassuring for the children's wider family." The current whereabouts of Tom, Jada, Maverick and Ember are unknown. It's likely they are still camping in wooded areas, or possibly in caves, in order to avoid detection. Due to Tom's extensive bushcraft skills, it's very likely the family are living off plants and shrubbery, as well as meats local to the area, including fish, livestock, and even wild boar. The children's mother, who has long remained silent in the public eye due to court constraints, issued an emotional appeal where she begged for help in bringing her children home safely. Quote, "They are just innocent children. They don't deserve to be treated this way. They do not deserve the life that is being provided to them right now." After telling the media of her relief of seeing her children alive in the October footage, Kat expressed concern for her youngest daughter, Ember, who suffers from asthma. Quote, "You need a prescription to get inhalers, so either he's neglecting her health or somebody's giving him inhalers. They have got to be getting help, whether it's supplies left somewhere for them at a specific drop. They have got to be having help." Further complicating the narrative, Catherine revealed a letter she claims to have received from Tom several months after the disappearance. In it, he expressed deep remorse and a longing to repair their relationship. Quote, "I am sorry for everything I have ever said or done to hurt you. I know if I ever give up trying to make things right, I will regret it forever." Despite that apparent sentiment, Tom has remained in hiding, and authorities have now warned the public not to approach him, noting that he may be armed. A reward of 80,000 New Zealand dollars for information leading to the children's safe return was offered on June 11th of 2024 and offered immunity to anyone who may be assisting Phillips and his children. However, the offer was only available for a fortnight and expired without anyone coming forward. What remains now is a deeply unsettling stalemate. The children are alive, but their well-being, their education, and their medical needs remain uncertain. Tom, once seen as a troubled but competent bushman, is now viewed through a darker lens, as a fugitive, a father operating beyond the law, and a symbol of how the wilderness can both conceal and endanger. This case illustrates the complex interplay between law enforcement, child protection, and parental rights when families choose or are forced to live apart from society. Tom's evasion tactics and the children's extended wilderness survival raise difficult questions about the impact of such isolation on young minds and bodies. The ongoing danger posed by Tom's alleged criminal activities add an additional layer of urgency to this case, highlighting the potential risks to both the children and the wider community. Furthermore, the case spotlights systemic challenges in responding to missing persons cases involving children in remote areas, particularly when a parent is the suspected cause of disappearance. Authorities must navigate a delicate path between respecting familial bonds and safeguarding children from harm. Nearly 3 years after their initial disappearance, the fate of Tom Phillips and his children remain uncertain, though the recent credible sightings offer a glimmer of hope for resolution. The New Zealand police and the children's family continue to advocate tirelessly for their safe return, balancing the twin imperatives of law enforcement and child welfare. As the saga continues to unfold, it serves as a somber reminder of the vulnerability of children caught in complex family disputes and enduring pain borne by families left waiting for answers. The community remains hopeful that one day soon, Jada, Maverick, and Ember will be reunited with their loved ones and find the safety and normalcy every child deserves.